Hey everyone, welcome to Strange Stories, where we explore near-death experiences and supernatural stories from people who've had a glimpse of the other side. If you enjoy our content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Without further ado, let's get to the story of the day. Story number 1. My family instilled in me a high level of spiritual consciousness as well as an abundance of unconditional love. But after the age of 13, my life was dominated by death. Before I was 17, I witnessed the deaths of my father, grandmother, and a beloved uncle. The draft came at the age of 18. I saw the end of the Vietnam War and its tragic aftermath. When communists took over Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, there was death, destruction, and the mass murder of millions. My job as an intelligence analyst at the Recon Squadron in Southeast Asia required me to study it, write reports on it, never discuss it, and worst of all, do nothing to stop the slaughter. People say they have a broken heart after a love affair ends. They have no idea what that means. However, I do. It broke my heart to see so much destruction and death. Life was meaningless and empty. I lived in darkness for several years after that. Then came a 15-year recovery journey. I've tried everything: group therapy, psychiatrists, antidepressants, support groups, men's groups, spiritual work, you name it. I've tried it. It appeared that I was getting better, but that war ripped a hole in my soul that nothing on this planet could fill. I was suffering from a severe case of survivor's guilt. All of those people died and we did nothing about it. And I just couldn't get over it. I was angry at God for exposing me to so much death for no apparent reason. Finally, I just wanted to die and be free of my suffering. On the surface, my life appeared to be fine. A good job, a wonderful girlfriend, and even a cute little house with a garage. But I drove into my garage, shut the door, put on a Beethoven tape, sat back in my car seat, closed my eyes, and left the big motor running. I was finished. The Beethoven tape lasted 45 minutes. A high-performance V8 with no catalytic converters should have pumped out more than enough carbon monoxide to knock me out in that time, then murder me. But I did not perish. I guess I went away for a while. I'm not sure where I went, but I did download a program that ran later. All I remember from the garage is that after my ego self vanished, someone was inside me, looking after me and running my body for me. It wasn't, however, me. This man was full of love, patience and forgiveness, understanding and even humor. After the music stopped, it was him who raised my arm, stopped the tape, and turned off the engine. He helped me get out of the car and into the house. He even put me to bed gently. My ego, the little voice inside my head that wants to run my life, was gone the next morning. It was replaced by an incredible sense of calm, peace like I'd never known before, a peace so vast that it can absorb all the pain from all the bad things that have happened in all of eternity. God's blessings. Apparently, I would not be permitted to die. I started praying because I didn't know what else to do. Genuine, God-talking prayer. I imagined myself in space, looking down on Earth as if God could see us. Southeast Asia was on fire, with bright orange flames and thick black smoke billowing into space. All the murdered bodies are being buried, their souls floating up to heaven like wisps of gray smoke. As I mournfully gazed at my imagined vision of the war, I tried to fill my heart with all the grief and pain it could hold. Then, God answered my prayer by taking control of my vision and altering it right in front of my eyes. The black smoke vanished and the orange flames transformed into a brilliant blazing white light, too bright for human eyes, similar to the light at Christ's tomb, the light of rebirth, the light of God. Then something happened. It defies description, but I'll give it a shot. The program I had previously downloaded began to run. I guess I left my body, and I know that I entered the presence of the living God. Every perception I'd ever had, Every sense I'd ever felt before in my entire life paled in comparison to the overwhelming power and clarity of what I felt then. I was floating in a sea of pure love, a vast, deep, and beautiful ocean that a mortal mind cannot comprehend. And I knew I was destined to swim in that sea. It was the reason God created me, to swim forever and ever in that beautiful ocean of love. Knowledge and understanding appeared in my mind instantly, fully formed. Feelings swept over me like a gust of wind, and God enabled me to look back. The souls who died in that war ran up a massive rainbow straight toward me, and they were overjoyed. It felt like graduation day, a beautiful June morning on the campus of one of our best universities. The elite students have arrived, having graduated with highest honors from the most difficult course in human history. They volunteered for this difficult course. They were honored to be chosen, and they have now passed with flying colors. Today, they're filled with joy. The joy is sung aloud by a chorus of 1,000,000 angels. Heaven sings in perfect harmony. Those beautiful souls crowded around me, eager, happy, and thrilled, like little kids in an Asian market. Only this time, I was the teary-eyed kid, and they consoled me. God truly duped me by turning my favorite memory of Asia inside out in order to open my heart. And this is what they told me. Don't be concerned about us. Don't cry for us. We requested our life assignments before being born. We arranged to die in that war because our sacrifice will help the entire planet's consciousness advance much faster than it would otherwise. God gives our souls extra credit for doing it, and we can grow in leaps and bounds. We are now honor students. Our future is so bright that we need to wear sunglasses. When things get really dark here on Earth, heaven's light shines brightest just on the other side of the veil. No matter how bad things appear, remember that everything that ever happens on Earth is designed to help souls grow. Everything, especially shadow lessons, is a perfect manifestation of divine love. God promised to be with you forever, even until the end of the world. Everywhere, at all times, in darkness and light, in good and bad times. Always, always and forever. Amen. My pain and grief had vanished when I awoke. I was cured. My life would never be the same after that. My life used to be organized from the outside in. It now functions from the inside out. Rather than working and pushing to get things done, I stay in peace, love, and trust, and God moves things. A small miracle soon brought me my inheritance. Over 100 letters to and from my great-grandfather. During the Civil War, he served as a combat medic, 1862 to 1865. His path is the same as mine. My truth is his truth. I quickly ended my relationship with my girlfriend because I just knew that my soulmate was not far away. All I had to do was track her down. I had some great adventures while looking for her, and I eventually found her. She had her own NDE many years ago. She now works in hospice nursing, assisting dying patients and having a loving, peaceful transition. She has the most incredible heart I've ever met in my life. Her love is reminiscent of God's love. Story number 2. My family had a farm in northwest Louisiana. On March 19, 1958, they were clearing the fields in preparation for the spring planting season. I was 5 years old when I started working in the field with my older brother. I sat on the ground because the grass was blackened and there was no fire. I didn't notice the cinders that remained. It landed on my petticoat and ignited. My brother tried to save me as I ran through the horse pasture. One of my most vivid memories is of him crying and covering his face against a massive oak tree, unable to put me out and giving up on me. My mother was in the house with an infant son and heard the screaming. She ran to me, jumped a 6-foot fence, rolled me, and threw me out, her hands burning. I was alert and composed. I was taken by ambulance to the ER, where I recall people scrambling and hovering over me, frantically administering care. I don't recall feeling any pain. When I opened my eyes, just that quickly, the light was burning my eyes because it was too bright. Because the light was behind them, I could still see the people in silhouette. It was permeating everything at the time. I liken it to living in a fluorescent light bulb, where everything is brilliant and emits light. It's as if you're inside the bulb and the light is passing through you, coming out of you, and so on. I couldn't see the light. I complained to the people around me, who I assumed were doctors and nurses, about how bright the light was and asked them to turn it off. "How can you see?" I kept asking them. I was looking through my lashes when one of them said, "It'll be fine in a minute. You'll adjust to it." A soft glow replaced the light. This was more of an indirect light. Nature was pink and gold. It was friendly and loving. It's similar to the light at sunset and sunrise. My parents would always find me outside at dawn, and sometimes I would make my bed on the ground to avoid missing the sunrise. I want to be outside at sunset as well. I think it's because I'm looking for that light again. The first impression I had was of unconditional love and acceptance. I felt nurtured and loved, as if I were being held close by someone. It was the most amazing sensation. Every thought was known to them because I was conscious of it. It was that quick. They knew me as well as I knew myself. They were lovely beings. There are no wings, just lovely faces. In retrospect, they appear to be male, but I perceived them as asexual beings. There was no need for words. Every thought was fleeting. We didn't have to say anything. I did, however, speak later. I'd use my voice. After I got into the experience, I acted like the child that I was. I knew that if I wanted to stay, I could. However, I did not say this aloud. I knew I was there, having fun, but that I could leave. They were protecting me during my body's healing process, I discovered. I was taken out of pain and was told to think of this as hibernation, and like the animals that sleep during the winter, I would wake up to play in the spring again. I was the one who told them I needed to go play in the sun again. They kept me entertained. I played with other children, with whom I feel a stronger bond than with my own siblings. They're not here with me in this life. I knew them well though, and they're more connected to me than the people on this side. I knew there was a thin line separating my family, my life here, and the one there. The people here cannot see through it, but we can from the other side. Similar to how a two-way mirror works. I had slipped into a coma in the emergency room. On April 19, 1 month later, I awoke on my 6th birthday. It was one of many such occasions. Because of my blood volume and infection, I was prone to cardiac arrest. Tolerance to large amounts of pain medication forced them to increase dosages, putting me at a high risk for procedures. I knew I was doomed to return. I knew I had a mission to complete. I was aware that I was not ordinary and that I stood out from the crowd. I had no idea that this was not a common occurrence or that it happened to everyone. I grew up assuming that everyone was aware of this. I never questioned the experience. I know I'm here for a reason. There are additional experiences. During skin grafting, I went into cardiac arrest for 2.5 minutes. During this time, my mother was visited by a being that others explained away because she was on medication for hand burns. She had a conversation with me about this. I come from a non-religious family. They're usually a little wary of such things. Members of my family, as well as complete strangers on the street, have frequently told me about a being they see around me. This is not unusual for me to hear. Strange things have also been said to me by friends, co-workers, and strangers in cities across the country. They have also informed me of a light emanating from me. For unknown reasons, I've never gone unnoticed by family and friends. My ex-husband of 25 years also didn't recognize me when I walked into his office one day. I talked to him for a few minutes, and then he sort of snapped out of it, surprised that it was me. I'm not sure what this phenomenon is, but it happened to my mother later that day when I stopped by her house. There's so much to say, but words cannot express the awe, rapture, and essence of the experiences. I get frustrated when I try because I feel so inadequate. I can't do it justice or convey the magnificence of it all. I wouldn't trade these experiences for anything. The worst thing that could happen to you could turn out to be the best thing that could happen to you.